Hi guys, Virginia here and I'm back with another 12 by 12 process video for you today using the Kitaholic Kits October kits, and they are packed full of the Vicky Booten Field Notes collection. So I'm using one of this month's exclusive Kitaholic Kits cut files. It's a big giant floral cluster. There also are some loose flowers, but I decided not to use them today. I just cut the giant piece, and I've kind of pretty much skipped ahead to where I've backed most of the cut file. I've just used these four papers, the yellow, the dark blue, a light blue, and then a green with some spots on for the leaves. And it's a really easy cut file to back because there's not lots of little fiddly bits. You can pretty much just chuck a chunk of paper on there and trim it off. So I wasn't really sure where I was going to go. At first I thought maybe I use the inks and kind of repeat those colours that are behind the flowers. So I'll show you a little bit of what I did, but of course I don't end up using it. I don't know, I've got a thing with mixed media. Sometimes I like it, more often than not I don't. I'm working on it, I'm giving it a go, but yeah, so there we go, we skipped two, and I didn't like it. Yeah, I think the white background just wasn't doing it for me. I wanted something bright, well, something vivid behind those flowers to really make them pop off the page. So I put it back. I've put some adhesive foam behind it, and then I decide no, I really don't like it. So I try the green leaf, and I didn't particularly like that. So I have a hunt for something else, and I grabbed this stripe. I didn't particularly like that either. I tried a piece of blue cardstock. I didn't like that. And then I pulled this one out. And even though it's the same colour as what's behind that large floral, I really liked it. Those flowers really popped off the page. So I'm going to stick with this, I've decided. And that's going to be my background paper. So I've just trimmed off the branding strip. And I'm just situating my flower. And then I'm going to adhere it down. So I'm using a mixture of ATG. ATG does not want to roll on the foam, so I struggle with that for a little bit. And I add some glue as well, just to make sure it all sticks down. And then I'm going to adhere that in place. Here we go, committed. That's what it's going to be. Okay, so I am going to trim down my photos a little bit. The photos are of Edison and our 3 chickens. She had been hunting in the garden and found a whole lot of worms and slugs and snails. She's got a little tray of them there, so she fed them to the chickens. The chickens had an absolute field day, and I felt like these photos were perfect for this collection. Like Eddie just kind of being out in the garden and discovering things, and yeah, so it was a perfect collection and a good opportunity to use the really cute little birds that are in this collection as well. So I'm going to mat my photos on just a couple of layers of pattern paper. So I've got the green leaf and then the light blue leaf just as a final layer, and I think that kind of connects everything to those flowers quite nicely. I'm going to prop it up on a piece of adhesive foam and pretty much place it smack bang in the center of my layout, because why not? Okay, so I did a few days ago fussy cut a few of the florals out of one of the floral pattern papers. I didn't do too many because they were quite fiddly to fussy cut, but I did do a few. So I'm just kind of focusing on those ones first and placing them around the page, and then I can start going through some of the die cuts. So there's 2 of the Field Notes die cut packs. Well, there's only 2 in the collection, but yeah, so I've managed to get that little bird, a little green bird on the layout. I love that bird, it's super cute. So I'm going to keep flicking through this first die cut pack and pulling out pieces. I like the idea of this piece that had sunshine on the cloudy day. It was really, the black was really kind of stood out from the page, but I wasn't too sure about the sentiment, but I do come up with something similar shortly. So I'm just continuing to go through the pieces, changing them out. A little spot for my journaling, go to the left. So I'm just going to tuck that there. Another little pink sentiment that says, be the reasons someone smiles today. Just continuing to find bits. A tab that says today, and then I come across a circular element in blue that says today, so I end up switching that out with this one. There we go, and I take that brown tab off and I replace that Sunshine on a Cloudy Day with Wonder. I like that a bit better. So just continuing to find bits and pieces. There's so much stuff in these die cut packs. There's a little pink label that says the good stuff, so I'm going to pop that up there. That's just going to fill in that little space at the top of the photo. And now I can go through the second die cut pack. So I'm going to pull out a few florals. I'm going to replace those reddy coloured florals with some other coloured ones. Wasn't quite digging the red colour, so I'm going to replace them. A little butterfly. I like the idea of that large die cut piece that says look at this, but for some reason I didn't like it there at the time. Looking at it now I really like it, but never mind, I find something else just as good. A little bird goes up there instead, and that's a good opportunity to use up that bird. I really wanted to use that piece, Find Me Where the Wild Things Are, but it wasn't going to make it onto the page. There wasn't a really good spot for it. So again, just layering some flowers. I've got some leaves down there at the bottom. Continuing to sift through. There's so much stuff in these die cut packs. Okay, rightio. So I am rather happy with all that stuff. I wanted to bring in a little bit of something. So I've got the American Crafts DIY Studio cork hearts, and I'm just doing a couple of layers of Liquitex Gold acrylic ink on them. I will come back and do another layer because of course cork soaks up stuff so much, so I'm just going to let that sit for a little bit and then come back later and do another layer just to finish it off. I'm going to go through these chipboard words. There's so many on here, but first I decided I like this as it is, so instead of trying to fit stickers on around it and shuffle things around, I'm going to glue everything down. So I'm kind of gluing things and adding adhesive foam at the edges of bits and pieces, just to kind of prop them off the page, give them a little bit of dimension as I go. So I'm working my way from the top down because I've got a giant cluster there. I'm going to glue down this large die cut piece. My little floral is going to go up on some adhesive foam, and I can glue down this giant fussy cut floral. My little bird, I'm going to prop the top piece of it with adhesive foam squares and then ATG at the bottom, just give a bit of dimension. Layer this die cut piece, and again with my journaling spot to the left, kind of stick that down and then add some more adhesive behind it, and then I can glue the entire photo cluster in place. Okay, little bird, I'm going to repeat the process. I'm going to put adhesive foam at the top and then ATG down the bottom and tuck that in place, and just finish off these other florals, tear them down, the leaves, a little bit of foam behind one of those leaves. Butterfly, again with the foam in the ATG, and this little pink one's going to have a bit of adhesive foam, and I do end up tucking it under that pink die cut just under the photo. There we go, just in there. Okay, and I'm just going to support that die cut with a little square of adhesive foam. Okay, so here's another layer of that gold Liquitex acrylic paint. Just smearing it on with a brush, and I'll leave it to sit just a little bit so that it dries just enough. Okay, this wonder piece I'm going to support with some adhesive foam as well, because I've got quite a few layers going on there. So I want to make sure that it's level. So I'm just going to tuck that under there. Okay, so now I can start going through these chipboard words. We've got one that says field notes, which I thought was perfect. Eddie's kind of exploring. And this other piece down the bottom, it was an odd shape because it was straight at the top and the bottom, so I felt like it needed something for it to sit either on or under. So the only logical place was kind of under that word wonder. I was annoyed because it covered the flowers, but I don't know. I really wanted to get it on, so it is what it is. I do try a couple of other smaller pieces, a smile and a happy, but they end up getting taken off the page eventually as well. Can't hurt to try because there's a lot on these sheets. Okay, just continuing to look for pieces. I try one up there, but I end up taking it off. I like this that says let's do this. It gives another pop of black on the page, and I wasn't sure whether I liked it by the bird, but it was really kind of the only nice spot for it to sit and to balance out the black and that wonder, so I've put it up there, and I'm quite happy with it. It is what it is. Glue down that field notes, glue down these other chipboard pieces, make sure they stay. And now I can place my little gold hearts. So I'm just going to put one there. They're still wet, so I'm just trying to be super careful with them as not to take off too much of that gold paint. And then one down the bottom left by this flower. Here we go. Okay. Lastly, I'm going to add a few splatters of some of that gold Liquitex acrylic ink from my stash. Just around the place, add some colour, and it really pops off that dark blue background. And then that's pretty much it for my layouts. So I hope you enjoyed the process, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.